Hey comic book fans, it's just after 8 o'clock here at the store, and it's time for everyone's favorite review show, Rainbow After Dark. How are we all doing tonight? I hope we're doing well. And just as a reminder, as always, it is Thursday, but if you haven't come in to get your books yet, please stop on down to 1501 Pine Lake Road, suite number 17 in good old Lincoln, Nebraska. Go Big Red, obviously. And if you're up north a little bit, make sure to check out our Sioux Falls location, 3310 South Minnesota Avenue. A lot of good stuff there, a lot of good folks there to help you out. So I got Tim here with me today as a special guest. Everyone say hi to Tim. Thank Tim here for being in and always being a good sport as always to talk comic books. I do love doing that.
It's like it's my normal state of being is talking comics.
So yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff that came out this week, and I think there was some cool news that also kind of dropped this week about comic books as well. So let's kind of go over some of that.
It's the first day of New York Comic Con also.
Yep.
Little snippets here and there, stuff dropping.
I know that I think Jeff Johns or someone at DC is supposed to be doing a panel for the Doomsday Clock at some point in New York Comic Con, and they're going to be live streaming that. So you want to make sure to check that out, and we can share the link when that happens. But there's a lot of cool details coming out for that, and I think what details we have learned of the Doomsday Clock makes me feel a little bit better about it. That it's just not. Jeff Johns made the point to say that this isn't just DC plus shoehorning in the Watchmen. It's going to have some actual purpose to all these characters being here. It's just not going to be Batman and Rorschach teaming up and whatever teaming up just to fight Dr. Manhattan. So
and the fact that Rebirth, like the Rebirth one shot, was really one of the greatest comics I've ever read. And, no hyperbole behind it. It's just a true fact.
DC Rebirth #1.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's really good. Yep.
I'm really excited because they said from the get-go, from the day that launched, that we have an idea for this. We know where this is going.
Yep.
And this is, outside of the button and a few other things here and there, like the Oz effect, this is the first time we're actually getting to see kind of the fruits of everything that we've seen seeded.
Yep.
And it's really exciting. I'm super into it.
They've definitely done a good job at least building anticipation for it, just not making all the kind of hints and references so overt. So it's kind of just been a very interesting tapestry that they've kind of laid out throughout all of the Rebirth titles that we get a hint of that. I just really love kind of the harkening back to some old classic storylines. Like I think, for example, the Detective Comics one now is called The Lonely Place of Living. That sounds familiar. It's obviously after Tim Drake died. It was about the lonely place of dying. So you get a lot of hints and nods back to that stuff. But yeah, Doomsday Clock sounds awesome. Look forward to that. That comes out in November, so it's slowly upon us.
Slowly. One of the things that DC's doing that I really like is it feels like a proper universe. And we always know that Batman and Superman and Green Lantern all exist in the same existence or whatever. But like right now, DC's got Dark Knight's Metal going on. Over in Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps, they're actually dealing with metal that ties thematically in with what's going on in the miniseries and over in the Batman books. And it just you could read Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps, never touch Dark Knight's Metal,
and you'll be fine.
You'll lose nothing, but it still feels interconnected, and it's really exciting.
And it makes you feel a little better about spending the extra coin to get all the tie-ins and stuff like that, because it actually has some sort of real relatable content to it. I know that I've really enjoyed a lot of the tie-ins with Green Arrow and Suicide Squad and Hal Jordan. There's one coming out for that soon, but it all has had some really, really cool implications to the overall story, just beyond the 6-issue miniseries, and obviously all of the Batman version one-shots have all been quite good as well too. So good. It's a great time to be a comic book fan. It's a great time to be a DC fan. Yes,
also.
that is very true.
DC has.
So I know I'm happy. But
they've always played second fiddle to Marvel for as long as I can remember, and with Rebirth, it really feels like they put. Since the New 52, they've really put in a new kind of oomph behind everything. But since Rebirth, I'm actually seeing it matter.
Right.
And it feels like that the people who are in the books aren't just fulfilling their story, aren't matching what their editors want. It feels like they give a crap about the story, which makes me give a crap when I read it, and it makes it a fulfilling, $2.99, $3.99, what have you.
Right. Yeah, and then in some Marvel news, yesterday they announced 2 new X-Men series that are going to be releasing, and all of them sound very, very fantastic. We have Rogue and Gambit.
Rogue and Gambit.
A very, very fun team and pair that everyone's kind of been waiting to get back, and then the return of Legion.
And Legion, absolutely, with the success of the TV show, it was just bound to happen.
And that was very blatant that was the reason that was coming back. It was just, I mean, the first season, if you haven't watched it, highly do yourself a favor and watch that, but it spurred interest back in the character to come back. So.
Yeah, on the Rogue Gambit side, in Uncanny Avengers, Rogue was a central focus in that book.
Yep.
And they really teased and toyed with, like, the Red Skull had used her connection with Gambit, and it really kind of left things out in the open and uncomfortable. And I'm really hoping that whoever ends up writing this book brings in some kind of this. I don't want to will they, won't they. It's a they have already, and now it's kind of how do adults deal with that after after the romance is behind you. I'm sure it'll play a factor later on, but I don't want like a moonlighting book. I don't want, oh my gosh, every issue they're fighting and will they get together? I don't care. They have been together,
right.
And I think that's a really good launch point for fun soap opera story.
Yep. So yeah, there's a lot more news that's going to be coming out, obviously. So kind of stay tuned. And
Larry is asking if there's any more Lady Pool in.
I don't know about any Lady Pool. There hasn't been a Lady Deadpool series.
They did a one-shot back with the Liefeld version.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe does he mean Gwenpool?
Gwenpool 21, which is going to be the legacy title that's coming out, is in 2 weeks, I believe. So we should definitely have those. So
Gwenpool, by the way, if you're not reading it, you should absolutely read it.
It's definitely taken a way, way different direction than the book normally was, because it kind of started off as this weird, obviously the character has gone through many different changes.
Well, it's a character that was based off of a cover gimmick.
Right. It was a variant covered in Deadpool Secret Wars #2, where it was Gwen Stacy variant cover.
Yeah, it was supposed to be just a dumb joke, and that's what I thought the book was going to be. And then I read some of it, and it is a dumb joke at the very light top layer. Mm-hmm. But once you get past the dumb joke, you get an interesting, complex character who would be right at home at this table, which is exciting.
Right, and that's what's always so fun about it too. Is just like the meta-textual comments about just reading comic books in general that you get from reading the actual book.
Well, and unlike Deadpool, who just kind of does that, there's a reason for her to have this knowledge and to break the fourth wall, and it's very fun. Read Gwenpool.
Yes, yeah, it's been a favorite of most people that are in this shop, especially people that work here. So.
It's a favorite of anybody who reads it.
Yes, it's great. It's just cute too. I like that too. But yeah, we got.
My friend Ashley is saying that she stopped by to support me, and now she's getting sucked in and is interested in what we're talking about.
Cool.
So thank you, Ashley.
Awesome. I appreciate it. But yeah, let's talk about what came out this week.
Let's do it.
All right. An Elephant Man.
I know. So you guys knew this was coming.
Let's get on Elephant Man.
All right. The sad story is that this book is ending at issue 80. The good news is we have all of those prior books to read. One of the reasons I want to showcase this, aside from the fact that Elephant Man is my favorite book, is this week Blade Runner is coming out. Blade Runner is a very heavy influence on this book. It's so good, like aesthetically. Basically, I've always sold this as Blade Runner meets the Island of Dr. Moreau. It's giant animals who have PTSD, who are treated 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 8th class citizens, living in this futuristic cyberpunk world, and the more I explain it, the more it sounds insane. Read the book. It's so good. It's some of the best sci-fi I've ever read, and it's heartwarming, and it's crazy, and it's violent, and it's sad, and it makes me happy, and it's everything I love in comics. This is coming from me. This is a huge statement. Everything I love about comics can be boiled down into this book. So yeah, we're coming up on the end of it, but I mean that means
plenty of collected editions to get.
There's so much stuff. And Richard Starkings, the creator, actually announced that in 2018. Well, he didn't give a specific date, but sometime in the future, they're planning on having a 5 or 6 issue miniseries that's going to be following up the events that are happening in the world post issue 80. I don't know what that means because I don't know who's still going to be around or whatever. But I could literally ramble about this book for hours. So yeah, number 1 on my list is Elephant Men number 78.
Sweet. Up for me, the first one I got is Batman the Dawnbreaker.
Dawnbreaker.
The one-shot for the week for Metal. This deals with the Green Lantern version of Batman. And this is a very, very... this was the first of the, I think, one-shots that really kind of grabbed my attention from a story perspective. Like, I really felt like what was kind of going on. Eventually, once you get towards the end of the actual book, you'll see some definite implications for some future things that are going to be set up in the greater Metal storyline, which is very, very interesting. But more so than not, this character was just cool. I mean,
very much.
Takes it really perverts the idea of what the Green Lantern Corps means and how someone with immense willpower can ultimately use that against the idea of what the Corps stands for. And we see a lot of that. We see a lot of violence, a lot of very, very dark subject matter from Bruce dealing with his parents' death and being able to wield one of the most powerful weapons in the universe, which is a lantern ring. So a lot of things happen. It was great.
And none of it feels out of character either.
Nope. You feel like that's probably how Bruce would act if he was just witnessed his parents getting murdered and then a ring comes and finds him.
Oh, it's so good, and plus it's not out of the blue either. It's not like some random person decided to write a Green Lantern story with Batman. This is from Sam Humphries, who's the main writer on Green Lanterns, and the art's by Ethan Van Sciver, who's been a staple with Green Lanterns since Jeff Johns' original Green Lantern Rebirth in the early 2000s.
Yep.
So this is pedigree Green Lantern telling you a Green Lantern story, and they know what they're doing. And it's, even if you're not interested in Metal, if you want a new Green Lantern story that's unlike anything you've read before, this the Dawnbreaker one-shot is just fantastic. And Dawnbreaker is a great name.
Yeah, and it's got a new lantern oath in it too. So,
there is.
Yep. Yeah. And it's also a good way to kind of get yourself into Green Lantern in general, especially if you're wanting to read Hal Jordan in the Green Lantern Corps, because he does have a role to play in this issue specifically, so it'll, I think, get you a good point to get into the greater Green Lantern universe. So
and everybody who's seen me on this show in the past knows that
you love Green Lantern.
Loves me some Green Lantern, and is not unearned.
There you go.
All right, second up for me, and I promise I'm not going to spoil anything. Just so we know, it's Batman number 32. This is the end of the War of Jokes and Riddles, and it's exciting. It's really cool. They've been going back to this. I don't remember what issue it was, but right before this arc launched, Bruce Wayne proposed to Selina Kyle, and he was like, before I get your answer, whether it's yes or no, I need to tell you the darkest thing I've ever done, the thing that I feel that weighs most heavily on my soul. And as a longtime Batman fan, I assumed he was just talking about Jason Todd, because that's what he's always referred to as a personal failure of his. This has nothing to do with Jason Todd. It's really, really interesting. The whole story has been really fun. I was not a big fan of the 0 year,
Sure.
Year Zero, I'm not sure.
The 0 year.
I wasn't a big fan of that story arc. I felt it went on a little bit too long. Wasn't my favorite. This takes place basically right after that, and I've loved every single issue of this. There's a couple of interludes with Kite Man of all people.
Yep, that have been very just.
And they're very integral to the end. Those two interlude stories really pay off. And at first, I thought they were just side stories to fill in the time while the artist was finishing up the other scripts. But no, they are so important. This is very, very fulfilling. I have no idea, with everything that's going on with Metal, with everything that's going on with Batman here, and based on Selina Kyle's answer, I have no idea what's happening with Bruce, and it's exciting to be like, I literally don't know what's coming next for Batman. I couldn't even try to predict it.
It's exciting and scary.
Oh, for
Batman's
sure.
got a lot on his plate.
Yeah.
He's going to be changed forever after.
Well, and people say that.
This,
people always say that. It's always in the blurbs, but it really, from every standpoint, from every angle you look at Batman, something is coming that's going to change, and it's significant, and it's great. I have goosebumps. I love this stuff.
We got Robert says GL plus EVS cannot be anything less than amazing. That is true.
He actually he met Ethan Van Sciver for me. I had to work when we were in Orlando. He got a couple books signed for me.
Yeah, that was great. But all right, next up for me, Gotta say it because it's the Tick. But Spoon.
Yes.
So the Tick is back. It's always good. Hot off the heels of the Amazon
First
TV
half
show. Yep,
of the Amazon.
six episodes. Also really great if you have Amazon Prime. It's totally worth checking out. Definitely a improved departure from the actual live-action TV show that preceded it many years ago.
I have a soft spot in my heart for that too.
I forget that actor's name. What is that actor's name?
Patrick Warburton?
Patrick Warburton.
He's actually producer on the new show.
Okay. And the original cartoon is fantastic in and of itself. And the actual original comic stuff too is also very, very good. But it's also nice to see a character like this return. Obviously, it's written by a man who seems to never take a day off, Cullen Bunn. So just adding another title to his ever-expanding repertoire. But if you're looking for kind of a funny, just goofy superhero book, I mean, this is the perfect place to start. You don't really need to know anything about Arthur or the Tick or anything like that. All you got to know is that the Tick's weird. There's killer clowns, ninjas, stuff like that in it, and it just sets up a lot of just kind of cool, goofy stuff that I think is going to have a lot of fun direction going forward. I've always, like I said, the cartoon is what really got me into the Tick, that then got me into some of the older comics and things like that, which are all now back in print, by the way. They used to all be out of print, but with the launch of Tick 2017, New England Comic Press reran printings for the entire series.
Is that their only book, The Tick?
Yeah. Yep, it's their only book, The Tick. But all that stuff is available, so even the original stuff from the early 90s. So
yeah, it's exciting. I've dipped in and out of The Tick. Every year on Free Comic Book Day, I make sure to get the Tick special because they always have one.
Yep.
And it never lets me down. And the fact that Cullen Bunn,
it's just funny,
hardest working man in comics right now.
You need stuff like this to kind of buffer yourself in between what we've been reading.
It's
like Batman and
dark and heavy and
I just need a book like that. That's also probably why I appreciate things like Wonderful so much, because it's a good palate cleanser like that.
Oh, so. For sure, and it's not any less good for being lighter.
Nope, everything has its own.
Thanks for that opening.
Now we have to go.
Now we have to.
Much more darker.
I'm going to bring it back down, ladies and gentlemen. Jessica Jones, number 13. This is the first of her legacy books. Purple Man.
Yep, that's tough.
Purple Man. Kilgrave. If you guys don't really read comics, but you've seen the Jessica Jones Netflix show, Kilgrave is back.
You know what that means for Jessica,
and it is. Oh, it's so sad. It is so sad. This is just the first issue. He doesn't even have FaceTime in this issue. But a lot of it is you get to see her panic, and she's calling Luke. She's like, I need you to say the word, because they have like a safe word that he has to say to her so she knows that he's not under Kilgrave's control. And for a minute, he doesn't remember, and he's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And just the look of dread on her face is just heart-wrenching. And the very last page of this issue, you find out who Purple Man has control of. I will not spoil it. It is heartbreaking. It is the most heartbreaking thing. I am so excited for the next issue. I'm excited for where this is going. I can't recommend this book to you if you're young. You don't read it. There's a mature label on there.
Might as well be a Max comic, honestly.
It almost should be just in the.
They did bring back the Max line with the new Punisher.
They did. I think the reason that Jessica Jones isn't Max is because it's so tied.
Now, at least,
very,
with all
very
the cinematic
closely.
Universe stuff.
Well, and this too, like the Jessica Jones in this is the Jessica Jones that you see with Luke Cage. Like they're married, and their marriage matters.
And they're in the Defenders now.
And in the Defenders also, like you can read those books and understand that those are the same characters going through the same things. And the Defenders actually play a very big role in this issue.
Right.
It's scary and it's very, very emotional. And for a 22-page comic, it's a roller coaster that I recommend everybody go on. On the switching gears just a little bit, going into Legacy, this is kind of Marvel's soft reboot, relaunch. Like nothing's changing on the grand scale that like DC's done a couple of times, but they're kind of doing a brand new initiative called Marvel Legacy. And inside all of these, the first of these Legacy books, The last 4 or 5 pages are just a quick recap of who that character is. So if you've never read Jessica Jones, if you've never read Avengers, if you've never read, pick a name, Gwenpool, there's a 4 or 5 page story at the back. And they're all written by Robbie Thompson, which really, really speaks to him as a writer and his skills, that he can match the right tones of these characters.
Like the next month and a half is all going to be these books, kind of.
But it's a great primer. So if you've always wanted to read, like you don't know anything about X-Men, let's just say you come in and pick up X-Men Blue, X-Men Gold, anything with that legacy banner and a number 1 on it. Like here, it'll actually say across the top, Return of the Purple Man Part 1. Anything with that Part 1 is going to have just a quick primer in the back. I'm a longtime fan, and I still love reading him. Robbie Thompson's a great writer. A lot of the art, not every one of them, but a lot of the art's done by Mark Bagley, who's just killing it. The guy's been working for years. Really is associated with Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man. But watching him do other characters is always just delightful.
Yeah, it's also nice too that, like Tim was saying, it's also just a good way to get back into Marvel. If you've kind of been out of the game for a little bit, these aren't intimidating reads to pick up. They're all brand new story arcs. If you've been away from the game for a while, it's perfect time to get back into it. And obviously, don't be intimidated by some of the issue numbers. You're going to see some high issue numbers. They're just going back to the original numbering of the book. So Avengers is going to be at like 672, and some of your other favorite characters are going to be at high numbers. But that doesn't matter. Like Tim said, anything with the legacy banner on top of it is a perfect time to start a new book if you've been waiting to start a new book, but just not sure when to.
Yeah, just pick something up. If you want to know, like, stop in here, ask Zach or Dana. If you see me walking around, grab me, ask me anything. I know this stuff so well, it's scary. Excuse me.
Better than I do.
It scares me a little bit. But, John Runyon says, Lincoln.
Hey, thanks, John.
Yeah.
We do, gotta give a shout out to a comic book look. They've come in here and done some episodes, and we love you all, so thank you. Nice. But yeah, no. I generally have a large disdain for Marvel. It's not any secret if they've been in here before. But after reading the Legacy one-shot number 1, which I felt was like a good read, I do have a lot of at least hope for the direction the stories are going in. So
I'm the opposite. Marvel's kind of where I lay my hat. And there's no, it's weird. We can have different opinions and get along because that's what adults do, internet. But no, it's exciting. There's a lot of potential. It's a perfect time to come in. Maybe it'll all be terrible. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Possible. But I'm going to go ahead and put my money down and say that it's worth the risk and it's worth giving it a shot.
It's always good just reading, too. That's the other thing. It's always good to...
Yeah, your mom told you should read, and she was right. Read comics.
It's fun.
The end.
Yeah. But all right, let's kind of go through some other stuff that came out this week that was kind of note. This is going to be issue 14 of All-Star Batman. Now this, I think, ends All-Star Batman for now. I know that Scott Snyder said that don't expect these stories to be completely done with, but as for the actual book itself, it's kind of wrapping up, so...
That's where they were intending to kind of maybe go with metal in this, and then I know the stuff with the Signal.
Yep, that's a new quick 3-issue miniseries.
Supposed to be, yeah. So I don't think he's done by any means, but it's
stories are just going to be told different places. So
which that's okay fine. Yeah, give me more Batman.
All right, we were talking about Legacy here, but here is Avengers. This is 672, and this is going to be Worlds Collide Part 1. So
I almost put this on my list for today. It's very good. Mark Waid has been writing Avengers for a little while. He's also writing Champions. This is a crossover.
Captain America now.
Oh, yes. Oh, you just made me so happy.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to that. He's not in this book. But this Avengers book is one of the, since he's taken over the book, this is his best issue.
Yep.
And it's so good.
And this is one of my favorite books of all time recently. This is Motor Crush. I mostly just like it because I love the creative team of Cameron Stewart, Babstar, and Brendan Fletcher. It's really great. From an aesthetic perspective, it's amazing. From a story perspective, it's also very good too. So if you're looking for something different, neo-noir, futuristic, this is a perfect book to read, so I highly recommend checking out Motor Crush.
There's a lot of chatter going on. My mom's not happy with me for saying that your mother says to read comics. John wants me for president. That is a responsibility I don't want. Thank you, though. I appreciate your support.
You did have a good hashtag, Read Comics 2017. So
I will. You know what? I'll take that.
I'll retweet that.
Yeah, I'll own that for sure. President, I appreciate your support, but
you already got one vote for you right there.
You guys, I don't want to do that, John. No, thank you very much. It means a lot.
All right, and then we have another legacy title out this week. This is Royals.
Royals.
Is that Baymax?
That's what I keep thinking. I almost wonder.
Or is this just a Celestial? This might be Baymax.
How could it not be both? I kind of want to read it.
It could be both. It looks very, very much like Baymax. So
yeah,
interested
absolutely.
if the Big Hero 6 are coming back. That would be cool. I love that team.
That would be
like
great.
The original comic team, like Sunfire and Silver Samurai and those.
I'm excited. Plus, Inhumans with the new show. New show on ABC on Fridays. Check it out. Some people love it. Some people don't. I loved it.
I'm in the camp of not liking it, but like we said, that was very different opinions are great.
Yeah, no, it's totally cool.
All right.
Speaking of being on opposite ends of the spectrum, here's a book I actually don't care for.
And I'm nonplussed by it, but this is Spirit of Vengeance. I'll only say I'm nonplussed by it because I do like a lot of the characters that are in the book. I like Blade, I like Damian Hellstrom, I like Satana Hellstrom, I hope this is Johnny Blaze. I think this is Johnny Blaze. Or it might be Daniel Ketch, I'm not sure. But
I know Robbie's in it.
It's cool to see the kind of darker, mystical side of the Marvel Universe come back. Selfishly, I'd like to see a Midnight Suns book or...
That can't be far off.
Something like that back instead, but I think this might be the de facto or prelude to them bringing back the Midnight Suns, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we have another legacy book. This is Venom 155, so this is right after the Venomverse wrapped up this week as well, too, so that's going to kind of create Marvel's own Venom multiverse, which is cool. So Venomized characters. This is the actual main title itself here. This is a good time to get into Venom.
Mike Costa just knocks it out.
That's a great cover.
Mark Bagley's actually. I'm behind on Venom, you guys. So
it's a great cover too.
Yeah, Mark Bagley's on there. Like I said, I love that guy. Mike Costa, you can't go wrong with. Read Venom.
Some other good trades that came out this week.
I actually read the first 3 issues of this.
This was great. This is Predator vs. Judge Dredd vs. Aliens. So, yeah, that title is a mouthful. And just from looking at it, the title makes it look like it's just a silly, goofy book, which it is not in any way, shape, or form. Nothing is quite good.
Judge Dredd is very... You really take it at face value when you look at it. Right. It's always deeper than you expect. And this book is everything you want it to be.
I'm a huge Dredd fan. He's one of my favorite characters, and I've been a huge person that has hated any of the IDW American Dredd iterations. They've usually all been bad, but this was very, very, very good. I highly recommend checking that out. And then this was another acclaimed miniseries in the Hellboy universe. This is The Visitor, How and Why He Stayed. So
I didn't read this. I've wanted to for a little bit.
So this is kind of a prequel to Hellboy, I guess.
Is it?
Not really. I mean, it's The Visitor, obviously How and Why He Stayed. So if you've read Hellboy at all, you know that this was a character that was there to kind of keep tabs on Hellboy and watch him, and we figure out why he decided to stay instead of leave. So,
there you go.
And then toys. This is the new DC Icons Batman Rebirth action figure that came out. I like the Icons line of action figures a lot. They're all very highly detailed and look really nice for the price too. So
I have the Mr. Miracle. It's super pretty. It's all shiny.
Yeah, that was a good week of books. A lot of good news that's coming out. Like we said, can you kind of keep up to date with some of the New York Comic Con stuff that's going to be dropping here shortly? I'm sure a lot of new stuff is going to be announced as well too.
They said Vertigo's coming back next year, August of next year. No other details.
I'll hold my breath on that. I hope that it's. I don't know if Karen Berger being gone, it's going to be a little different for me. But I hope they at least keep the idea or the spirit of Vertigo alive.
You can keep the spirit in there, and again, you put the right people in the right books. It's hard to screw it up, but also you can't do it without trying.
Right. So. And we have some other events just to kind of plug while we got the time. This Friday, actually, we do have doing Inktober here in the store, so kind of with a bunch of local artists in the community, and Dana himself are kind of all taking a part of this fun event that runs throughout the month of October, where a bunch of the Lincoln local artist community kind of gets together every Friday from 6 to 8 to kind of jam together and
Nice.
Show off their work. So if you're interested in stopping down and checking that out, I highly recommend it. A lot of great people are there. I'd be more than happy to talk to you, answer any questions, check out what they've been doing, so make sure to check that out. And then on Sundays, this Sunday we are running a draft for the new Magic the Gathering set Exelon, 1 to 5 p.m. So you want to make sure to come and check that out too. So we got some cool things coming up towards the end of the week. So
Awesome.
anything else you wanted to add, Tim?
No, that's all I got.
Yeah, it was fun. Always enjoy talking comics with Tim. It's always a great time.
Yeah, so I get carried away. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Tim. Thanks everybody for watching, and have a good night.